Welcome to the It's Been Said podcast. I'm your host, SAI Executive Director Lisa Ramey. Today's episode is a special edition of the It's Been Said podcast. Dave Daughton, Government Relations Director, will discuss his perspective on current legislative topics relevant to district and school administrators. He'll offer his insights on this subject matter periodically over the coming months. Let's hear from Dave.
Hi, everyone. This is Dave Daughton, the Government Relations Director for School Administrators of Iowa. Hope you all had a great Thanksgiving break. We're trying something new with this podcast, and we'll see how it goes. This is the first report, and it's the legislative update going into the month of December. As we get ready for the legislative session, we have completed and published the SAI legislative priorities. The legislative committee and the rep council all were working to get those out and to approve those, and we appreciate all the work that they did with that. Those legislative priorities are posted on the SAI website in a couple different versions. I would suggest that when you get to that and take a look at those, you use them to educate yourself. Number one. Number two, use them to educate your community. Many times the community is not aware of what your priorities are or what our priorities are. So I'd suggest you do that. And finally, and probably the most important, is that you educate your legislators. I know that in the past, I would print those off and still do and hand them to legislators and talk through what the priorities are to make sure that they understand the important things to all of us. Use examples of things in your district. Talk about stories that you can tell. Talk about how it impacts students. Once you're able to connect students and tell your story, it's more likely to be remembered and to be prioritized by the legislators. The legislative session is scheduled to begin on Monday, January 12th, and ideally it'll end on April 21st, which is the 100th day of session. It doesn't always finish on the exact day it's supposed to, but we'll have to wait and see where that goes. There are a lot of topics that they want to talk about. Obviously, they'll talk about SSA and the state budget. I can tell you that the things that we're hearing about SSA are not positive. We'll have to wait and see where they decide to go with that. Property taxes are going to be an issue as well. They're going to talk about those and try to find ways to lower property taxes. We have been hearing a number of different models on that, and so we'll have to wait and see what those look like, and we'll have to provide our input on them. Earlier this year, there was a 130-some page document, which were the DOGE recommendations. Multiple things in there that affect schools. The two most visible ones were taking a look at IPERS and the performance-based pay for teachers. As far as IPERS, most of the conversations we have heard from legislators and from the governor's office, I don't think they're going to do anything with IPERS, but we need to be paying attention to see what they come up with. As far as performance-based pay, there have been differing conversations about that. We know that in other models in other states, that rarely has a positive outcome. So we'll have to take a look and see what they want to try to do with that and educate them, the legislators and others, about how that works. One thing we've heard about, and of course you're all aware of what happened with the Des Moines Public Schools and the superintendent. The governor has required that all state agencies use E-Verify, which is the system which will check on the immigration status of individuals that apply for a license. We fully expect there to be conversations around the school districts using E-Verify as they hire people. Most people that I talk to, including myself, were not aware that the FBI background check did not include immigration status. Knowing that now, it might be that they need to do something different, and so we'll wait and see where that goes. Been getting a lot of questions and conversation from legislators about student behavior and wanting to know some things about that, and we've been educating them throughout the interim, and we'll continue to do that. We'll see where that goes, but I think they're wanting to have some conversation about what happens with students and how those students get back in the classroom and what alternatives we have for them and so on. So we'll have to be paying attention to that. Our legislative priorities are a listing of the things we feel are most important throughout our legislative priorities, and always what we're working on at the legislature during the session is making sure that they understand that we would like as much local control as we can possibly have. Also, we want as much funding flexibility as we can possibly get. If we have local control over things and have more funding flexibility, that goes a long ways in helping us to do what we want to do. I did talk to several individuals at the ISB conference a couple weeks ago. It's good to listen to what people had to say. I would ask you to continue to share with your advocates, including myself, about things you're hearing when you talk to legislators so that we know what kind of things they may be thinking about. Make sure you just drop me an email and say, hey, I was talking to Senator X and this is what they had to say. That gives us more insight that we may or may not have. Finally, to end up this podcast, I just want to mention a couple things. As you all know, I was a teacher, coach, principal, superintendent in school districts for a number of years, and I know from experience that the session or the time frame between Thanksgiving and Christmas is a challenging one. A lot of it has to do with our leadership and what our expectations are, but we know that kids are going through a lot of different things as they celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas, and it has an impact on them, sometimes in a negative way. So I just urge you to work with your staff and help them to understand that there could be some things that are out of our control, and we just need to try to work with kids and help them achieve at the best rate that they can. I hope you all have a great week and a great month. Look for an update around the first of the year. And then we plan to do weekly updates, both in print version and hopefully in a version like this as we go through the legislative session. Hope you all have a great December and look forward to meeting with you and hearing from you as we move forward. Take care.